Smugglers Cove, come right in, it's the 10th episode. Smugglers Cove, why don't you just make yourself at home? Smugglers Cove.
Boobs.
Always nice.
Yeah.
Aliens and Earthlings. I'm Tony Tha Space Pimp.
And I am Kutzky Tha Tallboy. On tonight's episode, we are celebrating a personal milestone.
The 10th.
Our 10th.
10th episode special.
Yes. In true Smugglers Cove fashion, for 2 more episodes after this episode,
It's true.
we will be, as I've said once or twice before, beating the dead horse,
Yeah, there's nothing more fun.
kicking the dead platypus.
I'd rather just pet a live platypus.
That would be kinder.
That would.
Yeah.
That would.
But Krista Brown made me do it.
Yeah, she's not really into animal rights. Speaking of animal rights, I feel that there's some animal rights right there.
Yeah. Clever.
Oh.
However, first things first.
First things first.
So, for a very brief recap, last episode I explained that we pull an animal tarot card to choose the animal sounds that are featured in the intro songs to our episodes. Pulled one last episode. There was a platypus. And this episode I'm going to pull something else. And that will be the animal in this next episode. Or this episode, sorry. So, without further ado. Again, as always, Stephen D. Farmer, thank you. Put the mic down here for a second.
Always a good idea.
How's the pipe?
Doing pretty well, I think.
Smells nice.
That's what I noticed too, is that just a second here. I meant to say, dear listeners.
A puyo. Or a pueo.
Have you ever heard of that before?
Nope. Hawaiian owl.
Hawaiian owl. I was wondering why it didn't have just owl.
It is Hawaiian. Spam. They like spam down there. Did you know?
Really?
Yeah.
In Hawaii?
Yeah. They do like a lot of dishes, like deep fry it and fucking have it at like fast food joints. I wanted to say delicacy, but I don't feel that that's fully encapsulates the vibe of...
Any culture that considers spam a delicacy is probably not one that deserves to thrive on this earth.
Yeah, Hawaii's a pretty sacred place, I'd say. Odd that they would fancy spam. I hate ham and spam.
I'm a fan of ham, but not the spam.
Yeah, see, I don't like either. No ham, no spam.
No ham, no spam. This right here is the ma'am.
Yeah, no green eggs either.
I was once, my buddy, I was at his house and his sister's like, do you want green eggs and ham? And I was like, no, it's just green food coloring. No, I wasn't even sold on eggs entirely at the time.
No, I don't need them to look gross. Green doesn't really make foods look better unless they're already green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Brussels sprouts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like boiled grilled eggplants.
Boiled grilled eggplants? I mean, maybe the green's a bit complimentary.
The boiled grilled eggplants, I've heard, are better if you puree them, though.
I think that's how it goes. If you put them with basmati rice, far too much basmati rice, and just soak them in a bowl for far too long, and cook the scallops.
Yeah, sear them.
Sear them.
Yeah, you don't fry them.
And then you leave the burner on, or you turn the burner on by accident underneath the wrong burner.
The accidental searing is actually key.
That's, if
it's
you're not
tricky.
eating blackened little peppercorns of scallops,
yeah,
you're tasting true nature's delight.
You better have some crushed up walnuts in your scallops too, or else you just ain't living.
That's what the crunch was.
Yeah?
It was just truly just like, what the hell is going on with these scallops? I completely forgot about the walnuts.
Well, if you haven't guessed what Tony and I had for a mid-break snack, it was a boiled grilled eggplant puree with scallops and walnuts.
But not just boiled grilled eggplant. It was also Brussels sprouts and some peas.
Yeah.
Did you add anything else in there?
Yeah, cube of spinach.
Cube of spinach.
Yeah, frozen chopped up spinach.
Yep.
You boil it until boiled, and then you drain some of the water and puree it till it's pureed. Then throw in a bunch of spices. Peanut butter is key.
Yep.
Cinnamon, rosemary, all your seasonings, whatever you have, turmeric, and then you cook what you think is a handful of rice. And
This turns out to be 3 bellies full of rice.
yeah, I've got rice for the week now. Thanks, Tony.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Be sure to snort spices out of the bag. Don't pay attention to see if there are any holes in them. And just take a good whiff and see what your nostril says.
Tony went to smell the bag of spices, which had a hole in it, and then had to blow his nose basically immediately after.
Immediately it burned.
It was yellow.
It was something else.
So, on that note,
Yeah, the pueo.
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 Do you think it's Puyo?
I have no idea how to pronounce Hawaiian, but I don't know. Pueo.
Puyo sounds nicer. Puyo.
I don't know. Like I can't even do a Hawaiian accent.
Yeah. Puyo are like gag Oreos.
Really?
No.
Oh.
But if I were to make a shitty gag, I would make a Puyo. If I was 6, I'd probably find that funny. Puyo. Your ancestral spirit guides are offering you guidance now, so pay close attention to signs and omens from them. Alright.
So?
Gonna read the little write-up on our friend here. Puyo. Puyo.
Pueo mayo.
Puyo mayo. I will take the Puyo mayo and spin, please.
Well, I mean, you could make pueo mayo, though.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
Krista Brown and Peter probably wouldn't be. Pueo. Yeah, gives us a pronunciation.
Pueo.
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 I feel like we kind of nailed it anyway.
Yeah, we knew it wasn't Puyo. Alright. You can receive guidance from your ancestors in the spirit world, no matter what their age, when they died, or how many generations ago they walked on the earth. They are offering to help you in many ways right now, so pay close attention to the signs they give you. The guidance can come to you in many forms, whether through your eyes, ears, feelings, or thoughts. Sometimes your ancestral spirit guides appear in dreams, particularly vivid ones. You might see someone who looks like one of your ancestors, or unexpectedly come across photos or memorials, or photos or memorabilia that reminded you of this person. Often a particular animal making an appearance before you is a way in which your ancestral guide is trying to reach you. You might hear something that makes you think of a specific ancestor or simply feel their presence, and thoughts about a certain ancestor, especially unexpected and reoccurring thoughts, suggest that they are nearby. Repetition is key here. In whatever ways your ancestors attempt to contact you, when signs continue to show up that make you think of your deceased loved ones, know that these physical manifestations demonstrate that they are with you. You may have known some of these ancestors in the physical world prior to their deaths, or they may be ancestors from long ago. Several generations before, page turn here, several generations before your birth. So you might know them more several generations before your birth. Surpassing the boundaries of conscious memory. Regardless of who they are, always give thanks to your ancestral spirit guides and even appeal to these benevolent helpers whenever guidance is needed. So, thank you to my ancestors.
I was going to say, I don't have much in the way of knowledge of my family tree, but sounds interesting. I just don't know.
Do you not know your grandpa?
I don't know either of my grandfathers. I only ever knew my grandmother, and she died when I was like 9.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So when you like thinking about my ancestors, it's kind of like, Well, I think about faceless people.
Yeah.
That I didn't know and had no impact on
somewhere?
on my life. There's photos, but you don't really have a memory to attach to that.
Fair. Well, I guess I'm even more thankful that I get to know all my grandparents. We're drinking out of my grandmother's teacups right now.
Thank you.
Yeah, that'd be my dad's mom. She just passed last year. 96 she was. Yeah, she almost waited for Diane before she croaked. This is kind of funny actually. So, not this that she fell and broke her hip, but when we went to the doctor's like, well, at this age, we're not really sure if the fall broke the hip or the hip broke and caused the fall. That's fucked.
Yeah.
Your hip just gives out. Anyways, they did surgery, and then she just didn't really want to recover from that. And, yeah, we brought her back to her house eventually and had nurse around the clock. And then I would go visit her, like most weekends. Diane hadn't got a chance to visit, so we went up one weekend to go visit her, and we were kind of late. We stopped to eat because we were famished, and then when we got there, we kind of avoided this fiasco that was going on. They were out of her pain meds, so they were running around town trying to find them. Ooh. So us staying and having supper kind of just let it be, so there was 2 less bodies in the mix, and we didn't have to go through that stress, so that was cool. So we pull up, and the nurse is getting out of her car. Well, we're getting out of our car, and the nurse, turns out she was from Newfoundland. So, of course, Diane being from Newfoundland, yeah, they gabbed away. She gave my gran the meds, and then said, she's ready to see people. At this point, she was pretty, she'd have a bit of response, but not really words. So you could, tell in her eyes she knew you were there, whatever. Anyways, so we were like, well, Diane, you go in and talk to her because you haven't seen her. Diane goes in, and it wasn't much more than 2 minutes, and my gram just passed. So I feel like she was waiting to see Diane one last time. And so I was there with my wife, Diane, and my dad, and his sister, and his brother, and it was kind of like a Hallmark moment, really. She had all her kids by her side, her grandson, and yeah.
That's really kind of cool,
Yeah. So I'll just read out the association words they have here quickly.
Please do.
Dignity, omens, guidance, protection, wisdom, knowledge, inspiration, mysteriousness, silence, sacredness, diversity, Aumakua, ancestor. It means ancestor, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Ancestor showing up as a spirit animal. Oh, it's an actual word, kind of a term word. Aumakua.
Aumakua.
Yeah.
Aumakua.
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 Yeah. Well, if I see you today, Graham, then I'll be happy to do so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good?
I'd say so.
That does it.
Well, oil. And with that,
Mm-hmm.
Where is Krista Brown leading us today there, Kutzk?
Let's have a little look-see. You rattle off this topic.
If you want to scroll up, just
Scroll up more.
There we go. So today we are doing questions about religion and morality. Morality? I thought it was mortality. We've been talking about morality for like the last 3 fucking seconds. Anyway.
Well, has a lot to do with philosophy, I suppose.
I mean, yeah, but anyway, I thought we'd really get into some more interesting stuff. These are profound questions that have to do with one's worldview. Many of these topics, such as life after death, cannot know with certainty.
That's what she thinks.
But they are worth thinking about anyway. Alright.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for missing the words in your own description, but we appreciate the hard work, Krista.
Somewhat.
I think we put more work into our podcast than she did into this article.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
I think so.
Yeah. We have, like, at least one podcast over 2 hours. This, 30 minutes.
Yeah, I think she prattled this off in, like, one fucking night. This was definitely not do a section a week.
No, I don't think she wrote half these... Well, actually, she definitely wrote some of these questions. Harry Truman and others.
The ones that are very, very clearly written from a biased point of view.
Yeah, the particularly liberal bent ones are obviously from the heart.
Yeah, from the heart
herself.
Little from the brain.
Can't win them all.
Krista wins very few.
She did get flirted on once by her friend's boyfriend.
When he was drunk?
Yeah.
That's a compliment. You know what? Honestly, that's still a compliment. Being a man who enjoys attention, I still don't mind when I still get flattered when drunk women hit on me. It's nice. Yeah. I was in Charlottetown one time at a bar called the Sportsman. It's an old retired cop bar. And I go up, and there was 2 ladies there. One of them I kind of took a fancy to. The one that took a fancy to me was not the one that I took a fancy to. Anyway, so she looks at me, and you can tell she's plastered and just fucking depressed. Like, she's not happy to be... I'd say she was probably like 45. She's, you know... I think it was more her mood. Yeah. And I think she tried... Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm sure you're a wonderful woman. I wish you nothing but the best.
Yeah.
But she looks at me and just drunkenly goes, like, I'm up at the bar trying to get drinks for my friends. You're a jailbait! And I just go... Actually, ma'am, I assure you I am of legal age. She's just like, just teetering on the stool. Went back, hung out with my friends, played darts, and then I made out with her friend later.
Nice.
So that worked out. Her friend was more like, she was like the first woman was really dressed up and kind of gaudy. Then the other friend, you know, was like
had less of a penis.
I only made out with her. I didn't inspect all the plumbing. But she seemed like she was just out to innocent and have fun and, you know, like just be a fun girl. Funny thing, when I was working at East Sides in Charlottetown, guess who came in with her family?
That girl?
That woman, yeah. And I was just like, and I kind of looked at her and she kind of looked at me and I was like, dope.
Yeah. Married woman.
Good to meet you again.
Lord. I know you.
I sure do. At least what the inside of your mouth feels like.
You had all your teeth. Did she have all her teeth?
Oh yeah, no. She was a very like there's no regret on my end whatsoever.
Okay.
Like beer goggles, I did not need beer goggles for this.
Huh.
She was a very attractive, very kind of like a pixie-ish sort of body type with like kind of like your hair but fuller. You know, like what I mean, that woman's hair that's fuller.
Yeah.
Kind of, well, a bit more crinkly. I don't know, but anyway, she was an attractive, nice lady. That's all I can say.
Well, cheers to that. Number 194.
Yeah.
Is it possible to not believe anything, or does everyone have beliefs? Well, Krista, we know you have beliefs.
We certainly do.
So, where's this question coming from, Krista? I think you are the answer to this question. Is it possible to not believe in anything?
I don't think so.
No.
I really think that, like, unless you you would have to be nothing but a surface level. Like I don't say this to be insensitive. You would have to literally be mentally incapable, like sufficiently mentally.
Yeah.
Insufficient.
Yeah.
To not believe in anything, because otherwise, like you would be. There's no consciousness there, other than no cognizance.
Yeah, everything you do is partly based on fact, partly based on a belief.
Well, but even so, like if you go any deeper than the topsoil, and you have to start believing in something.
Yeah.
Right?
You get up and do your day, I mean, you believe that you're doing something.
Well, and as you said too, I don't think even consciously you're driven by beliefs, but your beliefs drive how you feel, how you act, what you do. I really don't think that you can just walk around not believing in anything.
Yeah.
Like, you either believe there is or there isn't, or you believe there could be,
Yeah.
Like, you have your yes, no, and neutral, as Krista likes to use, but...
Well, yeah, the entire continent of Mexico believes they're a country, so, there we have it.
Yeah, you heard it here first. If you can believe yourself into a country, you can do just about anything.
It takes a nation.
It does. To build a child country.
Yes, Mexico.
Thank you. You do God's work.
You do. Thank you for the tacos. Number 195. What happens after death?
I feel like this is, you do yours, you all do mine.
Alright.
Yeah.
I think that when you die, you review your life, and then you learn from your past mistakes, and then you go on to the next life and try to be a better version than the one you were. So I think it's a constant evolution. I've heard one guy I like to listen to, Cryon, he said that you're only on the other side of the veil, as he would put it, for 3 days. So 3 days doesn't seem like a lot of learning. He also said that it's just a big party. I don't know that he was implying that everybody's shit-faced, but a celebration where you get to see all the people you've ever known, and then you come back to...
Maybe some that you don't know, or didn't get to know.
Yeah. If this is my party, I want all my friends there. But I suppose if you think of your lives as like a lot of lives, there's people I knew in lives previous to this that might not know this life, so I would see them. I feel like if it is just your friends, the more lives you live, then the bigger the party it is when you get back. Then you get born again, and you either come to this planet or another one. I think that, I hope, I'll go back to my planet when I pass and hang out there for a while, and then when Earth needs me again, I'll come down and do my thing. So that's what I would say. That's what I do say happens after death. You? So
mine, I'm still, we've had conversations about afterlife and whatnot. So I'm a bit more up in the air. I'm not as solidified, but I think for now I'm still quite attached to the concept of meeting the Lord and being, shifted to either heaven or hell for respected periods. I think heaven, you go on to do... Well, Caleb and I talked about this one time, and kind of... I'm not so sure that hell is eternal. I think that heaven is kind of like God says, you did good and I can use you and you're good material, basically. And hell. Mel. I've known some born a woman. But hell is kind of like a refining process where you go, you kind of hopefully learn what you did wrong, and then you're a more useful material or resource to the Lord. I don't think necessarily that we are damned forever, just because I don't believe that God would waste that resource. It's not out of us being... Well, we were talking too that in order for creation to be creation, it has to come from God and him using parts of himself to make what he has created.
Yeah.
And so therefore, all of us are a part of God. Mm-hmm. And so I don't think God would waste parts of himself if he can refine them, melt them down, and put them to work some other way. Now, I don't know if that means reincarnation or whatnot. I'm still trying to figure all that out. But I would say that after death, you become... Well, you go on to the next stage of the plan. Whatever that be for your life, or what the plan is for you in eternity and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate nihilists. If they're the fuckers who think you just die and it's like nothing.
I thought that was just atheists in general.
Well, whatever euphemism we use for douchebag, it just is,
nothing you do matters.
Yeah, like kill yourself now, please, and stop telling me this stupid shit and stop perpetuating. I think that's the freedom of Earth. You can believe whatever godforsaken thing you wish, but some of them are more ridiculous than others. So, to all the nihilists, atheists can believe in an afterlife. They just might not believe that it's God-based.
I don't think that... Well,
they don't?
To have an afterlife without a deity is... Like, someone has to be setting up the infrastructure.
Your grandma. My grandma. My grandma's there putting in work.
Okay, but who did the training?
Her grandma.
And so on and so forth until you get to a point where there are no grandmas.
Grandest mother.
So I don't think atheists typically.
No. They don't jive.
Well, I mean, I talk to atheists, and it kind of just gets to a point where they get really angry about the existence of religion, and I kind of get my hackles up because I find that they speak in typically very inflammatory ways.
I didn't even know they could talk.
There are intelligent atheists out there. Well, I have a friend who's a...
I never heard any of them say anything.
So you can't just take that. Do you believe in God? I was at a job one time, actually, and there was this older lady helping us do prep, and she asked about this coworker we had. There was this new hire, fucking horrible worker.
Yeah.
She goes, "What about what wasn't her name? Alicia. What about her? Does she believe in anything?" And one of my coworkers goes, "I think she's an atheist," without missing a beat. The older lady goes, "Oh, so you mean a whore?"
My kind of people. That's the Lord's people.
And you know what? That was an accurate description of this woman. She was constantly talking about getting banged and how her mom was a slut and how she went to the bar to get plastered and have sex, and then she would talk about stuff
Jesus.
just really inappropriate workplace conversations that there's a time and a place, and we always it's not uncommon to overshare in the kitchen industry, but it's kind of like, I only know you, and basically all that comes out of your mouth is that you hate men and white people, and that you are a slut and shouldn't be shamed for it. So
takes all types.
Thank God for the new college hire, for sure.
I've never met a smart atheist. I don't think they exist.
I have an atheist friend who I consider very intelligent. I think that God bless. Well, I don't mean that in an insulting way. God bless him. Like, I mean, I want the best for him.
Yeah.
But I think that he has a chip on his shoulder. Yeah. And I think that that kind of gets in the way of him. Well, not even being better, but just being a bit happier, because I don't think you can be that angry about something that might come up every single day.
Yeah.
And be healthy in the soul.
Do you ever meet a happy atheist? I don't know. I've ever seen one.
This just got deep.
Yeah. I mean, if they could talk, then we might know if they were happy or not. But again, I've never heard any atheists say anything.
I'm trying to think of how many people are truly happy, right?
Well, I would say that the atheism doesn't help your general overall well-being.
I don't think so. I think that honestly, because of how I grew up,
Yeah.
Because of how I am.
Yeah.
I feel really isolated just in a social sense. Like, I really did not have a whole lot of... Like, I was socialized, but not... Like, I didn't really figure out all the tricks and you know, tricks and tricks. I don't know. Tips and tricks.
Do you want to give context to the viewer? A pinch?
I'm socially retarded. Like, I do not know what things mean.
I meant of the upbringing. So
well, just in general, I think. Like, I just don't get things. Like, that's why I think I might actually have a learning disability.
Yeah.
So I feel really isolated and alone when it comes to other people, because basically every social interaction, well, not every social interaction, but like most of my social interactions heighten my anxiety at least by a few points, where it's just like, am I doing something wrong? What am I doing? And then what's even worse is that if I get comfortable and I act myself, then people are like, oh, you're so fucking weird. Or like, oh, you're crazy. Or I'm just like, well, fuck, I can't be myself. And then when I act restrained, I'm a weirdo.
Yeah.
But basically my point is, life is really scary when you're isolated. And I think, like, you know, it's not always comfortable for me being isolated as a person. I can't imagine believing yourself not only isolated as a person, but also isolated in the sense of greater meaning and a being, right?
Yeah, you're just some fucker here.
You're just truly lost alone, a speck among specks, in a meaningless void. Right?
I didn't realize how much I hate atheists until we started talking about them.
I don't think it's worth time to hate anybody, but I certainly get annoyed at I like a lot of the humor and whatnot, and anybody on Reddit's annoying, but like Reddit atheists, oh, you believe in Sky Daddy, oh, your little fairy tale book.
So that's how we know about them, because they can type. This makes sense.
Yeah, and they moderate Reddit subreddits.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I was wondering how all this information appeared. They don't talk, you know. Number 196. This is a pretty easy one here, Tony. Is there a God?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like to think that there's gods.
So, I'm not supposed to, due to my thing. But at the same time, I kind of believe that, like... Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. So...
We can hear you now.
Thank you.
Unlike the atheists.
They can't hear reason. Why would they be able to hear us? Okay. Anyway. Shit. Whoa. Okay, yeah, right. So, like, in my opinion, like, while I'm more open to the idea that maybe whatever face is on the face of the Creator that made the universe, to me, that is the Christian God. And whether that be that it is strictly the Christian God, I think at least the Christian God is a facet of that God.
Yeah.
Right? So, God, I win. Now, do I think also that there might be actual other gods? I'm open to the possibility. I won't say that I condone the thought, simply because I don't want to place a stumbling block and damn myself with heresy and sacrilege or blasphemy. But it doesn't. The idea of other gods existing doesn't bother me, because I know that the God I believe in is the Almighty, right?
Yeah.
So,
because I sometimes picture them like a group of wizards, you know, and they sort of govern over different personalities. So there probably is an atheist God. I don't imagine he speaks much, but I think the wizard gods, you know, they kind of correlate and figure out what's to be done, and they each kind of work on their own respective version of a person. Because we all sort of fall in line of somewhat of an archetype. Like, I would fall under some sort of like spiritual hippie skateboarder archetype. There's probably a skateboarder god or something. I don't know. But I think like my god's working on my breed, and then the other gods are working on his breeds. And it's kind of like this mix-mash thing here on Earth, where it's just like a fucking collab of what happens when I mix my children with your children, almost kind of thing.
So we found the basis for marriage.
Yep, it's incest. Wait, no?
No.
They're all different gods. Okay. but the same mother. So,
well,
now I'm just complicating things.
yeah, I think that goddesses, would probably. I mean, and you think about, again, I'm only lightly touching on it because I haven't done the research that I need to, but you have in paganism, you have like, gods and goddesses and things like that. So there's so many facets to the world and so many facets to people that I do like your idea of there being gods and archetypes and kind of setting it out, because you do typically have, and what I find interesting, try and finish one thought at a time, Tony. So, because you do have archetypes of how people act, right? I find it also interesting that you also have like archetypes of how people look, which I know is broken down to genetics.
Yeah.
But then you have archetypes of like people who look similar, who also act similar, which I find is super interesting.
Yeah.
The only example that comes to mind is one that I don't necessarily think is one that I'll. Anyway, but I find
Mexico.
No.
Oh. Well, continue. No?
It makes sense that they're archetypes. I think that's an interesting idea, because there's nothing new under the sun. It would make sense that there are these kind of patterns, especially with your belief in astrology, right? That these patterns, you do have these overlaying elements of personality. I don't know. Do you believe that like the stars are a sign, or that the stars themselves give you those attributes? This was something that I would have to ask before I go on.
I think they're a framework which you use to develop skills of your personality or your being. So I sort of look at my chart and it's like, alright, I got a lot of Capricorn placements, but they're all in the Pisces house. So to me that makes sense for me of like the Capricorn, if they say hardworking or kind of strict and regimented, and structure I guess is just a nice word for it. And then the Pisces is everything to do with spirituality, isolation, a type of thing that's removed from society or bigger than society. So like,
really?
Talking about things like philosophy or spirituality or religion, those fall under the Pisces things because they're more etherical. They're liquid. Pisces is a water sign too, so there's that kind of parallel with it. So I think at the start you sort of earn your chart. Like if you're born your first time, you're given a chart and you begin there and you develop based on what those, like it gives you natural skills. So to me, having structure and being able to structure spiritual based things, that to me comes naturally. Somebody else may have more difficulty with it, say like an atheist, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, they're just learning to speak.
Yeah, so that's, they've got one hurdle, that's enough. They don't need to actually put structure to spiritual things because...
So what would you say the astrological sign is for those who are most likely to lick doorknobs and sniff glue?
My heart wants to say Gemini.
Not wrong!
I forgot.
Did you actually?
Yeah.
Damn it! That makes it so true!
No, I think like that goes more to soul life. Like if you've only lived one life or two lives, you're just like a 2-year-old. You're not really.
We discussed that on another podcast. I almost shot myself in the fucking mouth with this.
Watch that mic.
That's dangerous mic work over here.
Yeah. It's that weird Japanese model.
You know what? Something just makes me want to... I think it's more of a nighttime mic, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd order that model again.
I think I'd order it all over the place.
Oh, would you? Yeah?
Everywhere.
Okay.
Like a Jackson Pollock.
Okay. So it has its place.
It absolutely does.
Yeah. Okay. It was trying to go to its place.
It
really.
was. It really... Yeah. It knows what it wants. It knows what I need.
Mind of its own.
Yeah.
Those Japanese.
Yeah. They're on top of the game.
They know how to make it.
Yeah. Probably from the bombings.
Yeah, exactly.
They know exactly what to do.
Yeah.
Once you've lived through an atomic bombing, I mean, like, is there anything else that you really need to prepare for at that point?
I'm gonna make fucking whore Mike shoes.
It's just what I want.
Yeah.
It's what I need in my life.
Yeah. We get you Americans figured out. There you go. Toshiba.
What were we talking about again?
Talking about what zodiac sign licks buttholes and eats doorknobs. And then I said soul life is more indicative of that type of behavior.
Right, and I was going to say we've discussed people who are like their souls are only 6 years old or the equivalent because they haven't lived through so many cycles yet.
Yes, yeah. So it takes time. Everything takes time. Some of us understand that better than others. So is there a God? Yeah, for sure. Does he look like the pictures that have been painted by some religions? He might.
I think no matter what, even if there is a God that is not depicted by any religion, you would be getting snippets, right? You would at least have puzzle pieces painted along the way. Like maybe not an entire picture, but you'd have aspects of it. I can't see something being so abstract that we haven't. Not that I think that we can know God in his entirety at all, but I think that we've had to have at least painted a somewhat similar portrait.
Yeah, I think like the silky white hair and long beard is not a bad place to start. And there obviously is female gods as well, goddesses. Krista Brown, for example.
Absolutely.
And others. I also like the idea too that they could be an orb, you know? Like we view things under the notion of, you know, our construct is human looking.
Like the best one.
Could be the best. I mean, I like an orb that can just project into any form it wishes if it feels the need to. And the orb would just fly through. This is one thing I think I might have did one point. You just fly through the universe, do what you need to do, and you know, you don't need to have legs to do that, but you could shapeshift into something with legs if need be.
Well, and that's the thing too, is I think when you're talking about that, I instinctively think about angels in the Bible and how they don't look anything like we are brought up being believed they are depicted, like being a wheel with 1,000 eyes and flaming wheels and shit like that.
I don't know, a couple times I've seen aliens, they've been more like orbs rather than something that looks like a, you know, like a full-on alien, like with a head and the fucking, you know, big eyes and that. So
I'm not saying Roswell is the way to go, but
yeah, so God could be an orb, could be a dude with a long white beard too.
Could be both.
Yeah, I think
different aspects
too. There's this other thing that people don't always understand. It's like what feels comfortable to you would be maybe more likely how they would present themselves, because it'd be so overwhelming to me to God. They don't want to just scare the shit out of you by looking like an orb, you know? It could be like, okay, this person has always believed that I look like a dude who has long hair and a beard, and so if he were to present himself to you, he would look like a him with that nature, you know? And vice versa for any type of construct of God you have. I really don't think the sex is quite relevant in gods, but for us it's just how we frame stuff.
I think so this is just another little idea and a side tangent kind of forming as I'm talking. So what if you have like galactic gods, right? One's more on the ones that you're talking about, that level.
Yeah.
And then you have more like the pagan gods, which are not, like, they're tied to the earth. Like, what if you have these beings that are so much more connected to the life of the and the greater source of existence, and then you have gods and goddesses that might even be a bit more in tune with us because they're closer to us, because they're more grounded to earth, kind of like what I would say like the pagan gods, where you have the night goddess or the sun god or whatever.
Yeah.
Again, I haven't done any reading. I
Ceranos. But he's like a god that has a deer head and a human body.
And that's a dope name.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. But that could be because that, I guess, suggests realms. And so there's God of each realms. In a way, we're the gods of our realm.
Well, I think we need to be the gods of our lives, you know?
That's true, too.
And that's something that I say to myself in my journey towards loving myself and doing away with those things that are obviously causing me harm and have caused me harm for so many years.
Yeah.
Is one thing I say to myself is like, do I want to have fun tonight, or do I want to get closer to becoming the God that I know I am?
Amen to that.
Right? So that's just something that helps me. It's because I've felt it before of what I'm, like, just the tip of the iceberg of what I'm capable of.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of me needing to cut away the chaff and the dead and the scar tissue of past decisions and horror that I've inflicted upon myself.
Yeah.
In order to grow new flesh and break that mold and become something that much better.
Yeah. Fucking love that. Yeah, because I'm just thinking then there's the atheist. Just perfect but can't say anything.
I'm perfect the way that I am, and I don't need to change anything.
Yeah, perfect mute. If I could speak, it would be nice. Yeah.
If only that were true.
Yeah. This just in. It's an atheist on the line. Can't hear him.
Oh no.
What can you do? Type us.
We know you're on Reddit.
Number 197. Is there an afterlife? I mean, we kind of answered this with what happens after death.
Okay, so can I just say something real quick?
Oh, yeah.
I've been kind of like, not disassociating, but there are 3 questions.
Free association.
There are 3 questions on this.
Yeah.
That are the same fucking thing reworded.
Alright.
So, I think 197 we've covered. There is an afterlife, whether it be the afterlife that you're talking about or the afterlife that I'm talking about, because what happens after death is typically then fucking followed by the afterlife, Krista. Holy shit. What happens after death? We decompose. Like, come on. Anyway.
Even decomposition could be fucking viewed as an afterlife.
Well, exactly. Even if you're just dealing with purely, like, there is no necessarily, like, a spiritual, like, I want to say, like, a spiritual physical realm.
Yeah.
Right? Where you go to heaven. Like, what if your reincarnation is into the eggs of the flies and the worms and the beetles, and that carries your essence and you grow?
I think I know what's going on here. So, she said what happens after death, and the atheist didn't say anything. So she decided to ask it reworded.
She just got too. She
thought they
nervous.
didn't hear her because they didn't respond. So she's just trying to be inclusive.
She's trying to be mindful of their culture.
Mindful. Mindfulness is a helpful tool.
Yeah. Mindfulness. Yeah.
Tool.
Wisdom, I'm not so sure on. I'm still not sure that wisdom is so helpful, but we're, at the end of this list, we'll come to a conclusion about that.
We'll put it to the test and, try. Yeah. Try is what we can do.
It's all you can do.
Yeah.
Unless you can't speak, in which case there's no point in trying to move on.
No.
So is there an afterlife? Yes.
Yes. Number 198, do people have free will? No fucking shit they do. Lineups at McDonald's?
Yeah, so this is a concept that I find very interesting because I do think that we have free will. That being said, I do think that there are things that we should do. Kind of like, how you and I notice things like this is how it lines up?
Yeah.
It means that we're obviously on the right path, right? So we were supposed to be doing this thing. But there are times when you're doing something, you're like, this is not right, should not be here, and you dip. And, maybe that was not the right decision. So I think you have free will. I also think that there is a path that you should be following, but it's up to you to stay on that path and to follow the signs.
Yeah, it's up to you.
So you have free will, yeah. But that comes with a lot of responsibility. Because if there isn't such a thing as fate that dictates exactly what you should do, then that means that it's up to you to follow your truest potential
Yeah.
All right, and to watch out for those signs, because if God's not going to, if He's not going to constantly be pushing you back on the path, that means that you've got to find the path yourself and keep walking it, which is terrifying.
Use your free will.
And if you're an atheist, you're alone and there is no path, and you are in darkness.
And we'd help you if you just spoke up, but again,
you're just so quiet in the back.
Yeah. You know, people say that they're annoying, but really.
Okay, so I have a joke.
Yes.
An atheist, a bisexual, and a vegan walk into a bar. We only know because they told everyone within 10 minutes.
That the atheist was there. As well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that checks out.
Yeah, so people have free will. Thank you, Krista.
Yeah. Fucking splitting the atom here we are today. Number 199. Is your soul reborn after you die? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's not that I want to be so brief with these answers, but we literally just answered them.
I'm telling you what's happened. She's just trying to get the atheists.
She's really trying to do her mission work here, I think. Just kind of like keep pecking.
You know, if I keep trying, maybe I'll hear an answer. Atheists are quite like God. They never speak. God speaks. Just not the way you think. Number 200. Does your worldview impact the way you make day-to-day decisions?
She asked this at a previous fucking segment.
This is redundant, but
yeah.
Yes, it does. Literally everybody. Doesn't matter who the fuck you are. How you view the world dictates how you behave in the world. And thus...
You could almost say it's a worldview.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I'm coining a new phrase, so bear with me. It might be a little bit clunky and awkward.
Okay.
But this is my idea.
Yeah.
Your worldview impacts how you move around in the world.
And you would do that consecutively, frequently, I would even say.
Yeah, consistently.
Almost daily?
I think. Because, think about it, the way you view the world impacts how you act in the world because of the way that you view it.
Man.
I am a genius, just so you guys know.
So the atom did get split here today, folks.
Yeah.
Courtesy of Tony Tha Space Pimp.
I do my best. It's a Japanese mic, I'm telling you.
Well, they did their best. Why shouldn't you?
Exactly.
Tony, 201. Where do people come from?
My worldview? People come... How do we even do... so... What's she trying to accomplish with this one?
Divide us into camps, as always.
But that's the thing, is you and I both believe that we come from a greater power.
Yeah.
I'm pretty on board with God taking a long time to enact His plan, and so therefore evolution brought us about. And that's...
Yeah, we come from the fucking universe.
Yeah.
From the pool of souls. Our essence is pulled and formed into what we have here. And other forms on other places. Aliens and Earthlings.
Welcome to Smugglers Cove.
I'm Kutzky Tha Tallboy.
And I'm Tony Space Pimp. So, where do people come from? God and the Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do also like the pool of souls.
Yes, no, that's... When I say God, I just mean that's blank, insert my answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
All-encompassing.
Yeah. Something bigger.
202. Is there an age at which people are morally responsible for their decisions? Good God in Christ, yes.
I think yes, but it would have to, like, because everybody ages at a different time, right? Like, at a different rate, and especially if you're going by what you believe that souls are, more experienced or less experienced, right? Then a child at a certain age, it'll be different for every child.
Yes.
And that's kind of why, another reason why I'm not such a big fan of the government is because there's those general black and white stamps of this is wrong for everyone, even though it could be right for quite a few people, but because of the idiots, the rest are punished.
Yeah, like I wasn't allowed to smoke at 6. It's just bad shit,
Truly, we live in a third world.
Yeah. I would have been good at it then. I'm real good at it now. Why do you cripple me? GOV? Just kidding. I never know you're there. Yeah, the age at which they become morally responsible is indicative of the soul age. I think some of us notice it earlier than others. I could say a general would be kind of in your 20s, later 20s, it really sinks in.
I think that, but it's something that you kind of move, because growing up, like, there were people with a better understanding and commitment to morals than I.
Yeah.
I was kind of stuck in the rebellious stage for a bit too long, and then I shoved myself out into the world, I guess. I launched myself out into the world.
Yeah.
I think that, there were a lot of people that were much more aware of the consequences of their action. Well, this is morally responsible. I think morally responsible, well, would have to define what morally responsible is. Do they mean by a deity, or do they mean by the government, or what do they mean?
I was thinking more
or
just
by
about
people or society.
Say you want to be a fat ass and just, eat your life away. Like, there's morally that's unethical, but it's available for you to do. So I feel like this is something that should be talked about a lot more, that you are morally responsible for your decisions. I do think with the internet it brings awareness to things a lot quicker, and there is that the awareness is there, like you can't really shy away from it as easily. Yeah,
and then the spotlight can get put on really quite inconsequential things, and then ignore super important things, like focusing on M&Ms being sexy or not, instead of the slave labor that makes all the chocolate you eat.
There you go.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about that, atheists? Nothing. Shocker. So, I think this should be talked about more, and I do think, like, those things, they paint the picture of our scattered focus, our imbalanced focus, dysfunctional focus, if we're preoccupied with which M&Ms are sexy. It doesn't necessarily mean that we can't also fucking be cognizant of the slave labor.
So here's the thing, is that I think if you are the kind of person that rejoices at the M&Ms being sexy or not sexy or that kind of change, you're an idiot. If you're the kind of person that gets up in arms about the M&Ms being unsexy, you're an idiot. It's obviously a ploy by corporations that don't give a fuck about the people. Like, they're just pandering in order to get the fat asses who are going to be so stoked about eating the candy to eat more candy, and it will not affect our daily lives, because any parent will just... Like, a kid's not going to pick up the social nuances of an M&M's box. For one thing, they should be eating Smarties anyway. Fuck your M&M's. No, I'm all for Smarties, man. Those monkeys...
What monkeys?
The monkeys on the Smarties boxes.
I thought you were saying something about the workers. I was going to tear you one.
What? The workers?
Yeah. They prefer to be called chimpanzees.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
derogatory.
I am rather off the cuff.
Well, the Liberal Party has been making just strides.
Just be mindful. I should be more mindful of chimp culture.
The advancement they've done makes Einstein look like a chump. Yeah. What monkeys? The M&Ms. They have monkey-shaped M&Ms?
No, on the Smartie boxes, there were the monkeys. We have Google right there.
Alright.
Smarties boxes, Smarties, M&Ms. Or no, Smarties monkeys. Monkeys on the Smarties box or something.
Okay.
Either that or this is a Mandela effect and you get to watch me lose my mind in real time.
Smarties box.
Yeah, the monkeys.
There you go. Okay.
I haven't had Smarties in a dog's age. Yeah, and they used to have like little info on the back of the box and shit.
About monkeys?
No, not necessarily monkeys. I don't know. There was a lot of stuff. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I was eating the candy. I wasn't reading the box too much.
That's fair. That's fair. Alright. Number 203. Is there such thing as fate? Yeah, huh?
Yeah. Again, this
Here
is one
on
of
this
those
couch.
questions. Do we have free will? Is there such thing as fate? Does chance exist?
Yeah. There is such thing as fate. The more you get attuned to yourself, the more you realize what you're attuned to. That may sound redundant, but what I mean is the more you understand yourself, the better you know what you are and aren't suited for.
And you know what to look out for. And there are signs to show you that you're on the right path. If you're doing the right thing, typically you're going to get a lot more, not necessarily like...
Synchronicities is a term
Well,
I use.
I would say, yeah, synchronicities. Because it's not so much about, like, I wouldn't say success in a material sense.
Yeah.
But you do notice those things that are like, oh, okay, I'm supposed to be doing this.
Yeah. Because fate can be just as simple as you're trying to do things and the ones that work out easier, those are the ones that you're meant to be on. The things that you may have to, I wouldn't even say try hard for, the things that just don't work out even though you might have tried for them to do so, those ones are not
I feel like you
fated.
can kind of tell. Like, if you're going to try something that's, I don't know, I'm still very new to this journey. Like I said, I'm kind of coming off the train of self-destruction.
Yeah.
But so far what I've seen is like things line up and you might be like, huh, that's a funny coincidence. Well, I'm not one to believe in too many coincidences.
No. Listen to your puejo.
You know, puejo.
Yeah. I talked about noticing the omens and the signs.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it is. You will get pretty clear signs when you're on the right path. And if you pay attention, well, they're just abundant, you know. Some just stick right out to you.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Coincidences are always a good sign that you are on your fated path. And
But so, speaking of fate, right?
Yeah.
We believe in free will.
mm-hmm.
Fate kind of, like, do you believe then that there is a, like, can you miss your fate? Because if there's free will and fate,
Yeah.
right, I think that, personally, you do have, like, I think of it as an option, as a fate, like, if
Yeah.
you do things right, you know, there's your reward. You succeeded in the way that you were supposed to succeed.
Yes.
Or at
yeah.
least partially succeed. Maybe you didn't hit all the side quests along the journey of the game that is life.
Yeah.
But, you know, you're fated to do some things. But, you know, you have the free will to accept or deny that fate and to kind of rob yourself of that journey and that reward.
Yeah. So I
That's
guess
what I'm thinking.
when you feel like you're living a full life and you're content with your life, or it's, you know, you're happy to do some of the things you're doing in your life, that is an indication that you're living more of a fated life. I think you have the free will to maybe veer, but I also think the veering is fated, so it gets to be, maybe some people would say chicken and the egg on this, but I don't really see any negative situations I've experienced to not have been as well fruitful. So though they had not been fated in the sense of something like this, our podcast, where all these things just work out for us,
Yeah.
that's a different type of fate than, say, a bad relationship or, you know.
So what I would say, though, is that there have been a lot of times where I have taken learning opportunities and I've squandered them.
Yeah.
Right? So I would say that there are things that I wouldn't say that I was fated for those things to happen. I kind of denied the calling of being better.
Yeah.
And therefore, maybe I was fated to keep repeating the same mistake, right?
Yeah.
But I think when you are where you need to be, you
Yeah.
kind of know,
Yep.
right? And even subconsciously, I think you know when you're where you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And I think that drives us to a lot of people to a sense of despair, because it is a lot of work to correct that path, to right that ship.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of damn work. But holy Moses, banging on his alabaster tambourine, is it worth it?
Yeah. Yeah. You start to feel the rewards kind of instantly, and then I would say they just gain in their potency as you continue on.
I think it snowballs, right? Because if you start making good decisions, then that leads you to make better decisions. It leads you to make better decisions. So you constantly are growing and growing instead of damning yourself to this rotting garden in the shade.
Instead of just grilling the fucking eggplants. You realize you can boil them.
You can boil them and then emulsify them.
Yeah. If you can boil them, why can't you emulsify them?
Exactly.
So, there it is. Fate is in our snack. Is luck a real thing? I don't know.
So, I was going to say that if fate is a thing, then luck is kind of null and void.
Yeah.
Luck is kind of for people that don't believe in fate.
This is what I would say, though, to say to this, this is what I would say. So what I would say is this, which I'm about to say.
Excellent.
Luck could be kind of like a archetype or construct that a person is here to experience. So in their life, it seems like no matter what, it just always goes right, or they always catch a break, or it always, like, despite all their wrongdoings, they still land on their feet.
I know, sorry not to cut you off, but I know a guy who makes nothing but bad decisions. Nothing but bad decisions. But he is the luckiest bastard that I know. I don't know if he has really religious grandparents that are with the Lord. And I think that they are doing nothing but just pawning all their spiritual inheritance to get that kid through the day. He's survived so many instances. Like literally survived instances where it's like, you should be dead. Like, you keep making dumbass decisions. Like, now this is coming from a kid, and the kid is me, that I thought I could be like a Pachycephalosaurus by beating my head against the wall in order to harden my skull so I could headbutt people. And like, I swear this guy's skull is like 90% bone and just very little brain.
So there it is. I think that luck, in terms of luck, is experienced on perhaps a less fated path. Because when you're living in your fate, then you have things that kind of seem lucky, but you sort of know it's all due to your own self-work, your just general work into whatever it is that you're trying to produce and grow and nurture. So those things that happen that are like kismet or synchronistic, or, you know, it's almost like a coincidence that you just were there at the perfect time for this thing. Those are... They feel lucky, but you know that it's not just dumb luck. It's like luck with merit. So
I almost want to say that luck is almost like an attribute that someone has. You know how people can be born, and I know that you can develop skills like strength and intelligence and charisma.
Yeah.
But I almost want to say that luck is almost like a something more people just have.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe in like rabbit's feet and whatnot, but some people just seem to be lucky and things to work out for them a bit easier despite their decisions.
Yeah.
So I almost want to say like it's an innate value that's assigned to you at birth or whatever.
Yeah, because that's sort of what I was saying. It's like you need to live through that life of the lucky one. And there's some sort of lesson in that. Like, there's a lesson in each life to be learned. That's kind of the fate of a life, you know? It's not necessarily like every single second of every day you're in this fated trance. You know, there has to be room for, well, sleep, eating, and all the other nuances that make a life. But the luck thing, I would say, is, if I'm thinking of it this and in the context, it's kind of an archetype, a life lesson for those who have it, and the rest of us, well, we can make our own luck. So.
Well, I think almost like if you're a lucky person, that it's almost a double-edged sword. Because if you're lucky and you're doing what you should be doing, then you're going to keep succeeding and you're going to have that little extra oomph, right?
Yeah.
But if you're making all the wrong decisions and you're lucky, it's just going to embolden you to keep making those really stupid decisions.
And there's the lesson there.
And there's the lesson there. It's it's really what you might have a good hand of cards, but you can play them right shit.
Yeah.
And you still lose the game even if you win the round.
Mm-hmm. The game eventually ends.
Yeah.
Every dog has its day. And no atheists ever have their say.
Or dogs.
One of these things is not like the other. Right?
I mean,
Dogs are upstanding.
I love dogs.
Valued members of society.
I miss having a dog so much.
Yeah. Yeah, dogs are
just
wonderful creatures.
Absolutely. Like, you think about a dog and, like, what a true companion. And I know that you're not a huge fan of cats, but I like cats. But there's nothing quite like coming home to a dog that misses you.
Yeah.
Like...
Who's ever been happy to come home to an atheist that misses them? How would they even know?
Yeah, really.
Do you miss me? Do you
Emotions
love me?
Don't matter. Nothing matters.
Oh. Hadn't said a thing.
They're just... the whole time.
Yeah. Well, that's progress for them. At least something was audible. Yeah.
Why did Helen Kellen's dog bite her? You'd bite her too if your name was...
Well, there it is. Does chance exist? Jesus Christ.
See what I mean?
Fuck off, Krista.
Does chance exist? Well, okay,
no, don't even.
Yeah.
She just... Bad, Krista, bad. 206. Does life have meaning? If so, what is the meaning of life?
So, life does have meaning, quite obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the meaning of life is to learn to love yourself and be better than you were every day.
Yeah.
To build upon yourself and to create a better you.
Yeah. To grow, to evolve.
To grow.
Yeah.
And if we're talking about, your definition of afterlife and whatnot, it could very well be to become a god. To work closer to becoming that perfect being.
Yeah.
Whether over a period of lifetimes or whether over one lifetime or whatnot, to be the best you can be.
Yeah, and then you can build your own universe, and then you can make children to co-mingle with the children here. Something, I don't know, just paint in the long run, maybe.
Well, I just think, brass tacks, like, to be better.
Yeah.
To do good. I think that's the meaning of life.
Yeah, straight up. Enjoy it. Number 207. Does having a religious experience prove the existence of a god?
To the person having a religious experience, I would say yes.
Or fucking does, yeah. Yeah.
There was one time my church did a Passover.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think that was, like, the first time that I truly felt, like, the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
And, like, it was nothing, like, no, don't get me wrong, like, whenever I'm in church, on the off chance that I am, and I'm singing hymns, like, I get the woo feeling,
Yeah.
But nothing compares to that Passover, that time we observed Passover at my church. That was something incredible. And it wasn't, like, it was just a feeling.
Yeah.
Like, we were just sitting there observing rites. It wasn't like joining in music. It wasn't that thing that typically, you could get from the energy in the room. Like, it was just a presence. Like, it was, whoa, drop the mic, someone else is talking. Like,
I had one myself as well. I was talking to my cousin, and my aunt would often... She was signed up to this program. She'd take foreign exchange students to come live in Campbellton.
Okay.
I don't know what shit end of the stick you have to get to
come
to fucking Campbellton, students. But there they were. And so we were talking, and then they kind of started asking me questions not too unlike this list here, kind of about God and what I thought about the afterlife. And so I was telling them my thoughts, and there was just this like cool mist that just, we all stopped the conversation because we all felt it. Like it just was this, just all over. And we were looking at each other and they're like, do you feel that? Do you feel that? We all felt it. And, you know, they were looking at me like, what did I do? But I think because we were having this conversation about these topics, it was like there's some sort of energy that was letting us know that this is the good stuff to be doing.
Like we're talking, like we were saying, if you're on the right path, there are signs.
Yes.
And very few coincidences, if any at all.
I have another anecdote to share, so I was thinking of this one.
Please do.
So...
you got to talk about anecdotes. I thought of a really dumb story that has nothing to do with anything.
Alright,
please continue.
you can go after.
Okay, but it's left field.
Alright.
Hard.
Well, you can pull the atheist method and just not say it.
Fair enough. Alright, well, when you put it like that...
Don't be an atheist. So, anyways, there's a good number of years of my life, mid-20s, I was living pretty broke, just no money, living at my parents' house, whatever, doing my stuff, studying my stuff, and I got these gift cards for Galactus from one of my cousins for Christmas. So this was more probably around February, I think I used these. There was snow still. So I was kind of hard up for money for smokes, and I always seem to find a way to get money for smokes. So my plan this day was, I had these comic books that I was going to go see if they were worth any money, sell those, and I had this gift certificate that was, maybe it was for $20, and so I knew the meal would be like 17 something, and I got it to go takeout. And I was doing that so that I would probably get change back, and I was not going to tip because I needed my money. So this was my, my scheme. So I figured I'd get, $2-3 from that, and then I would get maybe $10 for the comic books. Cool, got enough money for a pack of smokes. Well, I go to the comic book place first, and they're like, honestly, this is not worth anything. Like, we could give you 50 cents if you wanted. And my pride was like, no, I'll keep them, like, even though I did need that 50 cents. So anyways, I leave there pretty bummed, but I'm like, well, I'll go have my meal. That'll be nice. So I get my meal, take out, of course. I go over to Aberdeen Centre and just sit on a bench. It's cold. I'm eating this fucking veggie burger. It's Galactus. Maybe I said that right.
Big Tom? Or the Tom burger? Mark, that's it, yeah.
Knock, with a C. So anyways, I'm sitting there eating this burger and kind of like bummed. Like, I just walked from my house to downtown to enact this fucking cigarette scheme. And so I'm a little heartbroken. I'm sitting there and I'm eating my meal, and I'm just eating this in the fucking outside. Like, it's cold, it's snowy, sitting on this bench just eating this hot food like a fucking vagrant. And I'm like kind of like wiggling my feet on the ground, just moving them back and forth. And in the moving of my feet back and forth, I kind of melted some of the snow under my feet. And as I kept moving back and forth, I heard some noise. And so I looked down, and there's a bunch of change, toonies and loonies. There's like $20 in toonies and loonies.
Well, shit.
Yeah. So I just was like, thank you. Thank you, my man, whoever, this was good. Yeah. So, pick those toonies and loonies up, drive them off, walk across the street to the gas station.
There you go.
I had my smoke right after my meal. It was fucking, to me that was kind of a religious experience. Not particular to any other religion than the Church of Viceroy, but,
Well, it means that...
that's my church.
Some deity was looking out for you there.
Something.
The god of Viceroy.
Yes.
The priest of Toonies. The Archbishop of Crack Change.
God bless, whatever it was. So, that's that. You have a tale?
Not related to religious experience, but maybe
No.
this is just a nice short aside. So we're at my buddy's place.
Mm-hmm.
Did I tell you about the one where we camped at, where there was all the anthills?
Yes, yeah.
Anyway, so we were over, there was 4 of us.
Mm-hmm.
And one of us, you know that guy that I told you fucking sharked my magic card and just lied profusely?
Yep.
Anyways, we were playing, I think, like Settlers and Indians.
Okay.
And he was like, I want to be an Indian.
Yeah.
Okay. This was the terminology we used at the time.
Yeah.
And he goes like, okay. And he goes, blah, 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 blah. Now pretend you understood me saying this. And we're like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so we capture him, you know, like good settlers do.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, all right, so pretend that I get away. And he fucking bolts this pudgy kid.
Yeah.
Starts running away. Well, of course, like, there's an Indian running away. So we draw our sticks and start shooting at him. As soon as we do, fucking trips over a root and just eats shit. Trying so hard not to cry. And that's it. It was just, like, in my mind, it was perfect. Because, like, we drew, like, bang, bang, bang. And immediately he just fucking just rolls over. Trips. He's the same kind of piece of shit we were playing, I think that same day or night, whatever. It was a sleepover.
Yeah.
We're playing Medal of Honor Rising Sun, I think. One of the characters you could play as a woman in a night dress, nightgown, and we're playing like split screen, so there's 4 people playing.
Yeah.
The motherfucker's one of those dudes like, dude, you can't screen peek. I'm not. You know where I am every time. He's just one of those fucking guys. Anyway, that's my aside. Is this guy was a piece of shit and he fell down and when we shot at him and it was amazing.
Yeah. That was God. Divine timing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's some kind of dude.
So I had this situation where you would think God wouldn't smile in this way, but he did. So we were in this assembly for, I think it was called Katimavik. It was like this sort of summer program that you could do. You get to live at this kind of clubhouse, some fucking house. So you get to live there, no rent. And their job was to design a play park for the neighborhood. So they're trying to encourage us to apply to Katimavik.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think I've heard of it before, but...
Yeah, so it was like a couple, 20-something-year-olds, young 20s, and they were just doing a fucking schlep job, this thing. Like, they were disorganized, they had a PowerPoint. One of the idiots kept telling us, like, you get $5 allowance a day, and you spend it on whatever you want. Like, you can spend it on junk food. And just like, dude, like, $5 a day, you're not really selling me on this.
Yeah, that's not a living wage whatsoever.
No, I mean, they got the free lodging and, like, their tasks.
$5 a day, like, as a man with habits, if I'm spending money in a day, it's over $5.
Yeah.
Like,
so,
I don't need a chocolate bar that badly. I will amount my money to the end and buy something else.
Yeah. So we're basically just ragging on them the whole time. It's just like my friends and I cracking jokes. This is an assembly at school, so there's maybe, I don't know, 200 people in there. So we're cracking jokes, and this girl in front of us, she turns around, she's like, would you shut up? Like, I'm trying to listen. And I was like, you shut up. It's just very simple, like, no.
No, you.
Yeah, basically, like, it didn't get to this, like, no you, but it was like, honey, the men are speaking.
Man talk.
And, like, you mind your business, we mind our business. So, anyways, we keep cracking jokes. She turns around a second time. She's like, would you please, shut up? It's like, no, fuck you. Like, whatever. She turns back around. Anyways, we keep cracking jokes. Third time, she turns around and she says, would you please shut the fuck up? And just so happened, at this point in their, I don't know, seminar, lack thereof more so, they were going on about this retarded-ass sandwich they made with, like, bacon and peanut butter and M&Ms and chocolate bars and chicken and, like, just a bunch of, just a fuck-off, like, baked sandwich you'd make. And maybe I'll even make this baked because it just looked disgusting, but They were giggling and trying to show, you look like you get to do these fun things, like make this garbage sandwich. And it looked disgusting.
Diabetes sandwich.
So the girl who'd been turning around trying to get us shut up the whole time, she bit poorly. So she tells me, shut the fuck up. And I look up.
I need to know about this sandwich.
I look up and I see the sandwich. There's a big old picture on the screen, right? PowerPoint presentation. I just yell out, "This bitch wants that sandwich!" The whole auditorium stopped and turned around and looked at her. Like, even the Katimovics just stopped and were like looking in the crowd to see who's the girl who wants a sandwich.
Just like, we got another worker.
She bawled, "Fuck you, you're so mean." She just cried. I understand why she cried. I just fucking embarrassed her in front of 200 people.
Yep.
But that sandwich showed up just at the perfect moment. To me, that's the kind of God I believe in. Religious experiences. Yeah.
Beautiful. That's actually beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Fate smiles in many ways.
To me, it's like, why do you care that much about an assembly?
It was all over that. Like, just...
Yeah. Mind you, we didn't really have assemblies, and we had, like our assemblies took place in, like, a church sanctuary, and our teachers were, like, basically, like, very, like, highly guarded prison camp.
Mm-hmm.
So we couldn't get away with much, but, like, who cares? Like, you listen to an assembly about what? It's not important. Yeah. It's Katimovic, do you want to eat a really shitty diabetes sandwich? Like, you want to spike your blood sugar and make sure that no one loves you?
$5 a day.
Diabetes, but $5 a day, yeah, for sure.
The worst part was, it wasn't $5 flat. It was like $4.71 or something. It was this fucked up number. I don't even know why.
Like, who's doing the math?
Same
people who did the math on the question numbers.
Give me $5 or give me $4. I don't want 71 cents. Fucking making decisions difficult. Is there an absolute truth? I absolutely think that there is.
I think that the absolute truth is that we are the greater than the sum of our parts. I think that we are not just flesh and bone.
Yeah.
We are flesh and bone and spirit. We are not just this, it's not just this world or this dimension. I think that there's the realm of spirituality, maybe something other than that as well.
Mm-hmm.
We are not the greatest beings in the universe for sure, at all. I'd say the absolute truth for me is.
Yeah. Okay, so I was thinking of it, I agree with that. I don't have any contestment to that, is what I'll say.
Yeah.
I was viewing it under the light of, people say they'll use the word personal truth. I fucking hate that.
I hate that, yeah.
Sometimes I can get on board with it in the sense of, like, what I do for me, like, say I wear purple all the time.
So I was going to say, your personal truth is you don't wear colored jeans.
Yes.
So,
but not that so much. Like, that is my, like, that's one of my codes. It's in my codes. And maybe that, I guess that's still, I shouldn't completely disagree with that, but that's not where I'm going exactly with this. So there are things that I think each individual has that is most suited for their, like, inner genetics, codes, makeups, whatever.
Yeah.
So those things could kind of fall under personal truth. Most of the time when people say personal truth, it's in a real fucking shitty way.
Well, usually when I find people say personal truth, they mean it in a way that counteracts actual laws of nature.
Mm-hmm.
Or laws of like, even just like common sense or society.
Irrational,
yeah. And it's just a reason for them to be irrational and to just act and speak and conduct themselves in what is typically an infantile and usually
it's my fucking personal
aggressive
truth
way.
To be a dumbass and not think I'm a dumbass.
Yeah, like,
where I'm going with this though is that there are true truths, and when people don't think that there is, it's about as good as being an atheist, because you're not able to make structure out of anything. You need absolute truths to build a foundation. And when your foundation is built on absolute truths, it's a much more sturdy, secure foundation.
Well, even if those truths aren't actually real truths, at least you have a foundation that's founded on something. Other than just, there is nothing and I found it on that. You are willfully founding yourself on a void.
Yeah, so, because that's the art of all our foundations. Even somebody who doesn't have beliefs, like their belief that there is nothing to believe in, that's the foundation for their thing, right? So, like, that's their personal truth. It's garbage.
Yeah, I guess.
But what I'm trying to get at is, I'll use astrology for an example.
Mm-hmm.
Astrology can explain a lot of an individual. It explains a lot for you as a personal user of it, and it also explains a lot to you about the other people in your life, too. So, like,
Yeah.
it can be used as a self-discovery tool, but it can also obviously be applied to those around you and help you to understand them better. So here is this pseudoscience that is able to describe the inner workings of anybody you know to a very high level of precision if you understand how to use astrology correctly. It's obviously not the newspaper garbage, it's astral charts, it's specific placements. You gotta know your shit.
Do you have your notes on hand? I know the lighting's not too good, but if you can just show the viewers, I know that you gotta, when I see your charts, I'm just like, oh good, I can read absolutely nothing. I can see my sign, I can see Gemini, and then I get absolutely lost.
Okay, well, just for me to finish up this absolute truth thing.
Yeah, sorry.
What I want to say with this and using astrology as an example, it's like, here is something that is true. Like, it's not fiction, it's not like, because people will do this thing where it's like, oh, I don't believe in astrology. It's like, idiot, you don't have a choice. Like, you can say you don't believe in astrology, but all you're saying to me is like, you're too stupid to consider this. You're not telling me that it's not real. You can't do that. Like, you not believing in it doesn't make it any less effective. It just makes you, incompetent, or I would say incompetent to a degree. I think like in 500 years, probably a lot less, but I'm giving it that window just for the sake of morons, that astrology will be an institute that's just revered eventually. So that's going to be that. But I'm using this to say that you can find true truths, and when you find true truths, they all support each other, and it becomes this concrete web of knowledge or inner knowing that it's palatable, it's distinct, and it lets you know that other things are not true. Like, it is the, compass of sorts, and I guess everything I said is pretty obvious and logically understandable, but I'm trying to pull out a true truth from my hat here, and if I wasn't wearing a helmet, it would probably help. But
we're wearing helmets? Oh. Huh. Oh, it's weird. We don't usually do that. I don't know why we would choose to do that this episode.
Yeah, that's weird.
We're just odd ducks.
Yeah. We should do that on like a 10th episode or something.
A 10th episode would be a good time to do something just a little bit weird.
Yeah.
A little bit subtle.
Yeah, something to just kind of recognize it. Give it, pay some respect to it.
Well, it is important. We have been doing this for 5 weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy, actually. Yeah. So, breaking character, we've done this fucking podcast for 5 weeks straight, which I know is, but like committing to doing this for a month every week, and it's kind of like a sundown to sundown sort of dealing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it hasn't seemed like work. Hasn't seemed like fucking 5.
Are you kidding? It's the one thing I look forward to every week.
Samesies. So, I don't know if I need to beat this dead horse. I feel like those who can understand what I'm saying have understood it. I do think that
truth begets truth, and there are absolute truths, and once you perhaps discover one, you will be led to discover others.
Yeah, and they are very important. That's the other thing I'd stress.
As truth is and should be.
Mm-hmm. I guess that's where a good number of our problems lie today in society, is just a pure lack of truth. We think that because I interpreted that as racist, or I interpreted that as sexist, then that's the truth. And it's like, no, there is a true truth to the situation. It just is you don't like the true truth, or you can't, more so that they can't see the true truth. It's just wrapped up in the world of being offended. And it's like, there's actually an answer to this situation, and the answer is that those people that are offended are wrong, but that's kind of, it doesn't help to just be like, you're wrong. You know, what would actually help is to bring them to the understanding of how what they were seeing was not conducive to their being.
So, but at the same time, as much as I'm down, like, I think that what we do is, you know, if people want to come and experience our thought process, they can.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm dealing with people kind of like that coworker I mentioned who, you know,
mm-hmm.
men are evil, but I'm a slut and how dare you objectify me.
Yeah.
I find that those truths, quote unquote, are more just infantile tantrums because they do not want to accept actual truths.
Yeah.
And I find a lot of the truths that we have in society today are not truths. They're just really ill-disguised bitterness.
Yep.
And if you can't see it for the bitterness that it is, you're probably believing everything you've been taught in school and you haven't done a lot of critical thinking for yourself.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a call out to demean you. This is my calling to you to please take a look at the other side. Think, challenge yourself. Some things you're going to agree, some things you're going to disagree. And you know what? Maybe we don't believe everything the same thing at the end of the day. But for fuck's sakes, like, there are intelligent people all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it's stupid to believe that just because you have one thought process that you are God. Right? Like,
yeah.
What I mean by that is the next question, like, who determines right from wrong, right?
Yeah.
Look at society right now.
Mm-hmm.
Who determines what's right and wrong? The left.
Yeah.
So then everything that is anything center of left,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, anything center of left is an indescribable, condemnable evil.
Yeah.
And that's just a putrid mindset to have.
Yeah.
And then you have people who are kind of, I find that another truth that people have is that happiness is the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it is, because I think that you push yourself to make the hard decisions.
Yeah.
That brings about true happiness instead of what we consider happiness nowadays. I think is more just pouring fire onto this void that just burns inside us. And what we have with a lot of people are that they try to force other people to validate their darkness instead of calling them out for what it is, because then you're labeled hateful or prejudiced.
Yeah.
Instead of actually being willing to have their ideals challenged, that means that you are a pitiful and weak individual, right?
Yeah.
To me,
no, they have all this lingo that just traps themselves in this cage that is not conducive to them nor the people around them.
Well,
it's
I don't
this
think
frustrating, self-fulfilling prophecy that really needs some help.
And at the same time, and just to cover all our bases, there's a lot of right-wing people that are absolutely fucking bonkers. Like, when you're blaming the California forest fires on Jewish space lasers, you're wrong.
Yeah.
For one thing, Israel isn't that interested in California.
Yeah.
But there's such this focusing too much on you yourself being right instead of actually finding what's right. You know? Yeah. And instead of actually being willing to learn, because it's really easy to say I'm right, so everything I do is right. It's not so easy to say, wow, I fucked up. How do I learn from this? And you might have to most likely you'll be brought to a point. Yeah. At least if you're beginning your journey on learning where you fucked up, you are going to have to make some drastic lifestyle changes. That's going to come with losing friends and acquaintances. That might come with losing or changing jobs. Yeah. You are going to be a different person. Yeah. You're going to be better for it, but that is a fucking hell of a transformation period. Yeah. Like it's you don't become a pretty butterfly by cocooning yourself away. You become that butterfly by hard work.
Yeah. Yeah, and the hard work is not always what we might
Was that just a ramble, or did I make any sense?
No, you make good sense, because you started with the happiness not being the most important thing.
I think
maybe
happiness...
that's not where you started, but that was a good point to wrap that all up on. It's like, you do have to do that rough work that is not the quintessential happy life.
So I think I can kind of...
expand?
Not necessarily, maybe expand. I think instead of... I chose happiness maybe perhaps a bit preemptively. Pleasure.
Yeah.
People conflate pleasure with happiness, which is... Please don't cough into the mic. Come on, that's just rude to the...
Sorry.
We're very sorry about this, the technical difficulties.
I think it was Japanese made. I'd have a little more care with it, but...
Well, it is a sleek German design.
German?
You think? You don't think?
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Seems ergonomic enough.
Yeah. There's this burning quality to it.
Burns into my heart. But yeah, I think that, pleasure is conflated with happiness nowadays, where I think that honestly a lot of my happiness recently actually comes from denial.
Yeah.
Like denying myself those things of pleasure, because instant gratification is instant. It doesn't have that longevity. You can't always be experiencing pleasure. That's idiotic.
Yeah.
You can't always be happy, but you can be, there are moments I think that you might be able to attain peace, but I think even then that's a struggle. Like you would actually have to really work hard for most of us, but I think there is a calming sense of self of willing to deny yourself things in the moment for a greater good.
Yeah.
And you are the greater good. You should love yourself. You should love yourself. Love yourself and do better for yourself. And by that, you'll do better for the people around you, and those who care about you will see you growing, and they will grow too. You really do everyone in your company a favor by looking after yourself. So try and do that, folks.
Amen. And I think we answered the who determines right from wrong, and
we did
all that. Is the world progressively becoming...
Wait, who determines right and wrong?
The Liberals.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, Trudeau.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
He is the agent of righteousness in our time.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Trudeau. Is the world progressively becoming worse? I would answer this as it may seem like that sometimes, but I do think we need to go through all the filth. And there's...
I think in a very real sense, by way of filth, the world is worse. By pollution, the way that I look at culturally is that societies are going through what I like to think of as like a species-wide puberty.
Yep. Yeah.
We're rebelling against everything that was because we think we know what's best. And we're going to find out, I think, in maybe 100 years, maybe 50, that Mom and Dad were right.
Something pretty close to that.
I
would say Mom and Dad, like Internet Mom and Dad were right, because I do think the Internet is this fucking beautiful tool to open us all up and connect us all as we should be. And so I think that part of puberty, or if we're going to use the puberty analogy and say Mom and Dad, I would say maybe some of the morals of Mom and Dad, but that's
what I mean. Like your basic foundation of, like tying back into the other question.
Yeah,
like,
but if Mom and Dad didn't have the Internet, there's a new foundation that's being produced that Mom and Dad don't have a cognizance of. So Mom and Dad's moral foundation is needing also an update.
Well, you always need to update, but that doesn't mean that you can't go back to a strong foundation.
Yeah.
Right? And build upon it.
Yeah. Okay. So you use that and then update with what you know, because I'd almost argue that puberty is maybe not, I would say like almost a personal revolution, or like a revolution of insight. Like we're going through almost like a spiritual experience or something, rather than puberty, because puberty's, it does have a lot of shades of puberty though, people can play and fucking throwing temper tantrums. I agree with that.
And that's what I mean, is that right now there's an insistence of tearing things down, and I think that all parts of the spinning wheel, as grotesque as all sides of the aisle are, I think that it's contributing to what will come out of it are going to, in the end, be better.
Yeah.
I do not think, as much as I think inside me, there's a hopelessness and a despair that is sure that right now the way things are is going to only get worse and worse. But I think that
you almost sound like an atheist, but I know you're not.
No, I do not think that we will allow ourselves into the Orwellian society. At least I really don't think we will.
No, I don't think so either. I feel like why does evil exist kind of ties in with this question, because you need to have something that you can kind of perceive as evil to contrast against and know the better route. So like
any good story, you need conflict.
Yeah. So it's our conflict against what we think is evil, and some of it is just, I don't know that evil is the right word. It kind of looks like that because it's so shitty and,
as someone who believes in the devil and evil, I think, like, I do believe that there's evil out there. I do think that there are demons and twisted spirits that look to purposely bring you off the path that you are supposed to be on. But why does evil exist? Because good exists, and you existing in a vacuum.
It just contrasts to, like, it gives you a direction. I feel like evil exists as that's the road you don't go,
and it gives you some it's contrast, it's conflict, and if you aren't fighting against evil, how can you truly be good?
How can you?
Because you're not making the choice at that point, right? So you're not.
You could be Danish. That is, yeah. They already beat evil.
That's the promised land right there is Denmark.
Yeah. Crowdfund us.
Please do. We want to see your country.
Yeah. We need to study. Yeah.
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 There it is.
Yeah.
Huh?
Is that our conclusion?
I feel like we brought up in these last 3 questions a whirlwind of stuff that can be revisited. You
had a really good go at one, and then I kind of jumped on another. I think that we did this section a lot more credit than I originally anticipated, honestly. I thought this was going to be really dry, but I think that
I think this was one of the funnest ones, to be honest.
I really do. Yeah, this was... It wasn't so... I didn't find it to be as inflammatory as I expected.
Yeah.
She put in a lot of reoccurring dumb questions.
Yeah.
But I definitely expected her to kind of rag on religion.
Mm-hmm.
Which she didn't do. So kudos to you, Krista. You surprised me, at least.
Yeah.
I expected there to be, thinly veiled God-hating questions. I would not put it past Krista to be an atheist, or a militant atheist, rather.
Well, yeah, I suppose she does type, so she could be. We haven't heard her speak. We just have to look up the
I thought
YouTube
we did.
video.
I thought she had a video.
This is the other girl.
Right, the other girl.
I haven't seen a video. Yeah.
Right, no, Krista just told us about how to ruin our workplace relationships by mentioning their odor.
Cornering somebody and shoving Tic Tacs in their mouth.
Krista the Altoid Avenger.
I like Altoids. Perhaps you might enjoy Tic Tacs.
That's the way to go.
Yeah. Tic Tacs or Altoids.
I never had an Altoid.
I have had both, and I would say Altoid. They're more like a powdery mint.
Powdery mint. Okay.
They're pretty strong too. Tic Tacs are sometimes not as strong as...
Fine, Tic Tacs is with a lot of hard candy. I just chew.
Yeah.
So like Tic Tacs, I have in my mouth, and I'll be like, okay, and I'll like work them around. But at some point, I have to be mindful of the Tic Tacs in my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, they just get chewed up.
Yeah. Yeah. The Altoid would like bust apart similar to a rocket. Remember rockets?
Oh, I remember rockets.
Yeah.
Much like the chimps on the Smarties boxes, I remember them.
Yes. No. Well, I remember half that. Yeah.
There you go.
Well, glad you weren't being insensitive about their workers.
I'm really not. No, I respect the work of the spiders. Smarties, spiders. The Smarties monkeys. Chimps.
Yeah, all the chimpanzees you have. Giving them 401ks and RRSPs.
I would like to RRSP to the Smarties factories. You calling that? Is that?
That's yeah.
Yeah.
And then number 2.
Have a good one there, guys. Thank you so much for being here on our milestone episode, number 10. We hope you enjoyed yourselves. We hope you got something out of this episode. I think we both did.
Sure did.
I feel like pretty energized, actually. That was a lot of...
Yeah.
My head meat's stirring around. I don't know if it's just the eggplants or what, but that was a good one. We hope you enjoyed it. There's plenty of smoke in the room for you to just bask in our aromatic glory, aromatic glory, technically.
Yes.
And check us out on Instagram, Smuggle Hunks. We're over there. You can find our personal profiles if you want to DM me if you're Danish. Hit us up. Let us know. Like, comment, subscribe. We're going to be here every damn friggin' week.
Yeah. Doing our thing.
Yeah, doing our thing is the hunks that we are.
For us and for you.
Yeah, I think we all benefit from this relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, especially them because they get to look at us.
It's a symbiotic relationship.
You guys have yourselves a good week, and we'll see you here next time at Smugglers Cove.
Love you all.